want you to go ahead and feel your knee. And then I just want you to slide to the lateral side of it, go right below the knee joint, and you should feel a bony bump. That is the head of the fibula. And that is going to be the origin of this muscle here called the Fibularis longus. And we can actually feel this muscle because now what I want you to do is slide down and then you can just strum something back and forth. It should be tight. This muscle is almost always tight like this, but if you strum it back and forth like that, you'll be able to easily identify this muscle from the surrounding musculature. Again, this is the Fibularis longus. Now, it used to be called Peroneus longus, so if you may still see that in some texts. Peroneus, though, isn't as good of a name. Peroneus means to pin or clasp, where Fibularis means, well, to absolutely no surprise, it means to fibula. So this right here we can see highlighted is the Fibularis longus. Now, just so everyone knows, we are using a 100% free KenHub article. We've gone ahead and left a link down the description below, so go ahead and click on that. You can follow along and see everything that is so amazing about this article for yourself. Now, again, so Fibularis longus is going to originate here on the head of the fibula. And then what it's going to do is travel down towards the lateral malleolus. Now this is important because the fibula is the more lateral bone of the crus. And then when we say lateral malleolus, that is also another indicator as to where this muscle is, because this muscle is one of two muscles that belongs to the lateral compartment of the crus. So, as a quick refresher, the crus is the region between the knee joint and the ankle joint. It's homologous to the antebrachium or the forearm, but it is going to be different in its own right. So this is one of two muscles, like I said. The other one is Fibularis brevis. In anatomy, anytime you hear longus, there is going to be a brevis. Brevis means short, and longus, to no surprise, means long. And so this muscle is going to originate on that head of the fibula, and then it's going to travel down that lateral surface of the fibula and travel, and this is really important, this is really, really important, posterior to the lateral malleolus. So the malleoli, you can feel these in yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and just lift up my foot here, and I can feel, I have two what I like to call ankle nubbies. These are on the sides of the ankle. You have a medial malleolus on the inside of your leg, and then you have a lateral malleolus on the opposite side. Malleolus means hammer. So someone thought, I guess, you could take like a tibia or a fibula and they could use the end as a hammer. Not a bad name. But here is the thing I want you to understand. And I tell this to my students every single time I teach these muscles. Whenever you are looking at a crus muscle and you're trying to determine its function, your eyes should automatically go to this ankle region and look at the malleoli. So the medial malleolus is right here. It's just kind of blocked by some connective tissues. But we can see that lateral malleolus. And if you look really closely, we can see that the tendon is disappearing behind it. It travels posterior to the malleoli. Here's your rule. You ready? If a tendon or muscle is traveling anterior to those malleoli, it is going to perform dorsal or dorsiflexion. That is a rule. It's always going to be that way. If, on the other hand, the muscle is traveling posteriorly to that malleolus, it is always going to perform plantar flexion. Again, this is a rule. Now, we're going to look at an animation here in just a moment that is going to show this in action, but I just want you to kind of establish that right now. Again, this is one of the best tricks you can learn or teach yourself to help you learn and understand your anatomy, is how to orient yourself to what you are looking at and have some kind of idea based on where this is, how could that work. It is such a good activity to start doing in your brain. So, the Fibularis longus, again, head of the fibula, then it's originating on that lateral surface of the fibula, and then it's traveling posterior to this lateral malleolus. But it seems from here, like, where does it go? Well, now we can click on this image, and I love this image. You are looking at a plantar surface of the foot, or the plantar view of the foot, meaning the bottom of your foot. So this right here is going to be your heel bone. This is the calcaneus. And then we can see all 5 of the digits. And this is going to be the biggest digit. So this is your big toe. This is digit 1. Then we have 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so what we can see is this tendon, a Fibularis longus, is coming from that lateral side, going over that cuboid bone. And then it is going towards the cuneiforms. So the cuneiforms, there are 3 cuneiforms. You have the medial, intermediate, and the lateral cuneiform. This right here is that medial cuneiform. But we can see that it bifurcates. You can see it's attaching here at the medial cuneiform, and then we can also see it attaching at the base of that first metatarsal. The metatarsals are these long bones that are just beyond the tarsal bones. And I say it like that because meta in this instance means beyond. So we say these are the tarsals, these are beyond the tarsals, or these are the metatarsals. And so Fibularis longus is going to come around and it is going to insert on both of those. Now, that's going to be important because what we're about to see in this animation is it's going to be able to then pull the foot into what is called eversion. And eversion is happening, again, we'll go back to this image here. I can't really see it too much, but again, we're going to be able to see this in the animation. It's happening below the ankle. This is something that not a lot of people really can wrap their heads around, is that the ankle is a hinge joint. It only does this. It does plantar flexion and dorsal flexion. Right? Dorsal or dorsiflexion is like your toes come up to your nose. Plantar flexion is like you're standing on the tips of your toes. The ankle is a hinge joint. It only can do plantar and dorsal flexion. That's it. But then people are like, whatever, Justin, and they'll point their foot at me and they'll be like, look what I can do. And they'll do all this type of stuff. Well, what you're seeing there is eversion and inversion. That is actually happening just below the ankle. It's what's called the subtalar joint. And so that is what's happening. You see, Fibularis longus comes down, and by wrapping around and then inserting on the medial side of the foot, when it contracts, it's going to grab the foot and basically whoop, drive the big toe into the ground. And that pinky toe is going to lift off, and that is what we call eversion of the foot. But we're also going to see that the Fibularis longus is going to actually also support the arches of the foot. So there are 3 different arches, but this is going to help support the arches of the foot, which is going to be essential. You need to have a good archway, because if you don't have a good archway, what happens is then the foot will collapse and you get flat feet. And flat feet is an extraordinarily common, I don't know if pathology is the right term, but it's a dysfunction. And that is not going to be good because it is overstretching the plantar fascia and everything on the bottom side of the foot. Now, what I also want to look at is we're going to scroll down here so we can see the innervation here, because again, this is what's so amazing about our articles here at Kenub, is we like to make sure that we can show you everything that is necessary to understand this nerve. But as we can see, this is the superficial fibular nerve. So this is a branch off of what's called the common fibular nerve. So basically the sciatic nerve, which is the largest nerve in the body, comes down from the hip and then it's going to split. One half of it is going to become the tibial nerve, and then the other half is going to wrap around the head of the fibula here, and then it's going to start splitting. And so that's called the common fibular nerve or common peroneal nerve. And then this one right here is the superficial peroneal or superficial fibular nerve. So we can see this highlighted in green. This is going to be the nerve that is going to supply the Fibularis longus. All right, now what I want to do is jump up to this video, and I want to show you, again scrolling up, how this works. Now, these videos are premium features, but I just want to show you how amazing these are and why you are going to want to check this out for yourself, because it shows it in all of its glory. Let's make sure that the sound is off for this, and let's go ahead and press play. And what we're going to see are these actions. That right there is eversion. Now, what you could see is, and I might even rewind it, I want you to look right here. This is the subtalar joint. Here is the ankle joint, which is what performs plantar and dorsal flexion. But then right below it, this bone here is called the talus, and then we have the calcaneus is the subtalar joint. That is what is going to be sliding into create eversion and inversion. So let's actually just rewind this just a teeny little bit so we can see this for ourselves. Watch this happening. And that big toe is being driven into the ground. We call that eversion. But that is not it, right? We also said that we had plantar flexion. And now you can see this happening right here. That is that hinge-like movement, like you're standing on the tips of your toes. And then also, like I said, we're going to be supporting the arches here. So again, you can see supports the transverse and lateral longitudinal arches. Again, helping to maintain a nice stiff foot. That is the Fibularis longus. Again, this is all part of a 100% free KenHub article. Now, again, these videos are premium features, but so I strongly encourage you to check this out for yourself, though. We're going to go ahead and leave a link down in the description below. But my hope is that you understand the Fibularis longus just a little bit better than you did before. While you're down there checking out the link, go ahead and be sure to give this video a like. Little things like that go a long way. Also, leave us a comment. Let us know what else you'd like us to discuss in future videos. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.